Welcome to the XP Team USA podcast. We're digging the plugs and pinpointing the topics you want to hear.
And now, here's your hosts, Dave Kimball and Grant Hansen.
This show is brought to you by XP Metal Detectors. XP Metal Detectors is a high-end, innovative metal detector company with great machines and great pinpointers. For more information, go to xpmetaldetectors.com. For a dealer near you, try a Google search or go to xpdeus-usa.com. Hello and welcome to the XP Team USA podcast. I'm your host, Dave Kimball, coming to you from Central Oklahoma, and I am joined today by my co-host, Grant Hansen, coming to you from New Jersey. How you doing, Grant?
I'm doing well. The weather's gotten better. I got a new permission that I've been checking out, so I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I've been doing pretty good. Weather is getting hot and sweaty, and I've been working a lot. Yeah, I've been pretty busy.
Yeah, I know, and I know what you mean about the heat. When I was detecting yesterday, I had to retreat to the shade a little bit because the sun was just a bit too much.
Oh yeah. I was working up on a roof all day today, and I got sunburnt like really bad.
Oh, that's the worst place to be. Oh yeah. Goodness.
But I got out a little bit yesterday. I went to an old school nearby that's always been fenced off, and there used to be an old school on the property, like back in, I guess, late 1800s, and then they tore it down in the mid 1900s and then built this new school there, and it's always been fenced off, and you never could get in there to metal detect. Well, recently they've been doing a lot of work on the playground area or in the back area of it, and they had a lot of construction stuff going on, so I didn't really find a whole lot. I found a lot of quarters mostly. That was about it.
Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense in a schoolyard, and well, it must have been pretty junky too with all the construction going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new site I got was built in around 1840. I found some old horse tack. I found a mason jar lid. So some good signs of some oldness. I'll have to go back and do it a little bit more deliberately.
I saw that live video you did of that, and it looked like a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's nice. I haven't gotten a new permission in a while, so it was nice to get on something new.
Right. And check out the XP Team USA YouTube channel. We have new videos from Pete Sorell, who we will be speaking to on tonight's show.
Yeah, Pete's got a great video, and we've also got a recap of the Dayton Diggers 10th anniversary metal detecting event. Dave D, Sonia, and Tim Glick attended. And always stay tuned for new videos on that channel.
Yeah, great channel, great shows, and very high quality shows. And a huge thanks to Harry from iDetect. He's got a YouTube channel over in England, and he's running an XP pinpointer giveaway and has been sending our channel a lot of subscribers, and we really appreciate him.
Yeah, we really appreciate Harry over at iDetect sending people our way. He's got he just broke the 33,000 subscriber mark on his birthday, so happy birthday, Harry. Wow. And again, we appreciate the gift you're giving us.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a lot of subscribers. There's also an amazing deal that has been coming around that is from Metal Detectors America. They are selling their XP ORX with a pinpointer and the wireless headphones for $8.99. And check that deal out at xpmetaldetectorsamerica.com. That's a great deal.
It's a crazy great deal. Yeah, I mean, the pinpointer, that's a $200 savings right there. And, it's a fantastic deal for anyone who's been thinking about an ORX.
Oh, yes. And I believe this deal runs from now all the way to July 6th. So if you want to get on that deal, jump on it right now. I mean, you got to have that MI6 with the ORX or the Deus. So, I mean, this is a great deal. That's a free MI6 with your ORX.
Yeah, definitely. And, we want to congratulate one of the XP Team USA Facebook group members, Dale Henkes. He just found an 1881 gold coin, and it was a $10 gold coin. He posted pics of the coin and a video on the XP Team USA Facebook page, so log on to check it out. But definitely that's something that tops all of our bucket lists if you haven't found one already.
Yeah,
and a
great.
$10 coin, that's pretty amazing.
That is amazing. That is awesome. Also, if we're congratulating everybody, congratulate to our own Sonia Harshman, who was just won first place prize on American Diggers magazine for her article that she wrote.
Yeah, that was great. And it was unexpected. She didn't even know that there was a contest, so she got the notification. And thanks to American Digger magazine for recognizing her. It's a beautiful, beautiful magazine for anyone who's never seen it before. It's very high quality, and the articles are fantastic. So that the fact that Sonia won just is a testament to how good her article was. So tonight on the podcast, we have Peter Sorell. He's a new member of XP Team USA out of New York. He's also co-hosting the Adirondack Detecting's Pound to the Ground rally coming up in October. We're very excited about that. We've got a bunch of XP Team USA people going there. So if you're not familiar with it, definitely check out the Pound to the Ground dig coming up.
That's right. And we also have Ed Olson, who is a longtime listener of our podcast. So we're excited to have him on the show.
Yeah, it's always great to talk to our listeners and hear what they have to say. So we really appreciate them coming out every 2 weeks and talking and chatting. So really looking forward to talking to Ed.
Yeah, and we will be back with Ed Olson. If you are needing the highest quality digging tool for metal detecting, then check out Predator Tools. Their digging tools are made from chromoly 4130 and heat treated and tempered to ensure the highest quality product. Predator tools are made in the USA and are also used in the United States military. All of their tools carry a 5-year warranty and are proven to be the toughest out there. So check out Predator Tools at predatortools.com. We'd like to welcome Ed Olson to the show. Ed is a longtime listener of our podcast and is very active in our live chat. Welcome to the show, Ed.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. And again, welcome to the show. Just for our listeners who might not know you from the chat, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? You know, where you're from, work and family life, that kind of stuff?
I'm from LaSalle, Illinois, and basically we're here on the Illinois River. I worked at a nuclear power plant, and I'm just recently retired. I was an electrician. I just retired 3 years ago. I have a wife and a 30-year-old daughter who I just shipped off to London about a week ago for school, and wish I'd have went with her, but do a little detecting out of her bag or something.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right, yeah. Maybe you can get up there and visit her and do some detecting.
Yeah, she's going to be gone for 3 weeks there.
So how long have you been metal detecting, and what got you started?
I actually started about 40 years ago. My parents had a tavern, so I started into coin collecting. I'd go through the change and stuff and find coins or whatever for my collection. And I'd go to these stores that had coins for sale, and one day it had metal detectors for sale. And I thought, well, maybe that's something I might want to do. So anyways, it was a Coin Master 4 that I bought. Started metal detecting with it when I was in high school and then college. I got pretty well hooked back then, but then I ended up getting a job, and with the job working in the nuclear power plant, it took up a lot of my time, and then I ended up getting married and having a daughter, so that all took some of my time, so I kind of gave up on it. So I hadn't been detecting probably in 35 years, but once I retired, I decided, hey, I want to do some of this again, seeing all the stuff they had nowadays on the internet for metal detecting.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. And having started 40 years ago, you probably started with a machine that didn't have any discrimination. And now with the advancements in technology, you must appreciate some of those advancements since you know what it's like not to have that.
Oh, yeah, that's great. With the Coin Master 4, that was the first one that had discriminating, supposedly, though. I would flip a switch. I would run it in normal metal, and then I would flip a switch over to discriminate. And basically, it was supposed to take out the bottle caps, and I I think I must have done it pretty well. But after thinking about it all these years later, it's like, I wonder if it was good stuff or not, just because the noise went away. I assume it was iron, but that's what I started with, and I love that machine. So let's get back to detecting again.
So in your area, are you close to any abandoned mines, and do you have the opportunity to detect any of those?
This area here is all the little towns around here had coal mine, and when the little towns I grew up actually had a coal mine in the town, right outside the town. We used to go climb the slag hills. When they were talking about enterprise, I'm thinking, oh, okay, coal mines, and I'm used to all these little towns around here that have these big slag hills that where they took the tailings out of the ground, and they're all piled up on top of the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was used to with the mines. We really haven't been able to figure out exactly where the entrances and stuff were on most of them, but I do go metal detect in some of those towns, and one of the towns I hunted in, I was finding some of these tokens that said Taft, Illinois on it, bar tokens and whatnot. It's like, I asked everybody around, it's like, where Taft, Illinois was? And it's like, this is a mining town, and nobody seemed to know. And finally, I found an older person that knew. Says, yeah, that used to be the name of the town before they changed it to Standard, Illinois. That's where the town was that I found these tokens at. And so they had changed the name of the town along the way. I just recently got a plat map that from the 1930s, and it actually showed that Standard for the town, but then in parentheses it said Taft. So I was able to collaborate. That's where they came from.
That's really cool. And, it's funny. I just posted something on our Facebook page that I very rarely find tokens. So anytime I hear tokens like this that you're kind of finding, I get a little jealous because I find that they're so cool.
Oh, yeah. Those are my favorites, pretty much. Well, lately, I guess it's not my watch fobs. I've been liking those more than I do the tokens, but that's another story.
So is that the kind of detecting that you prefer, old mine sites, or do you prefer farm field, old homes, things like that?
I prefer to do farm field. When I first got my detector this time around, I live out in the country, and it was part of an 80-acre homestead, and the original house had been burnt down, and so I went to ask the person, if I could go, that owned the property, if I could go detect there. He said, yeah, fine, you could do that, but I know a couple other houses you can, places where their houses used to be on some of his other property. He said that he actually had a plat map, and then he brought that out. So the first thing we did was go through this plat map, and he's showing me where all these old houses are, and one-room schools are all showing up on these plat maps. So that's what I like to do is look for these old houses and one-room schoolhouses. I've been doing pretty good on the one-room schoolhouses.
Yeah, so you mentioned the watch fobs. Do you have a collection of watch fobs then?
Oh, I only have two, but the latest one I just found was is a Harley Davidson watch fob. When I found out, it was about a half mile off any roadways. That was where a house had used to been. I thought when I found that thing, it was pretty cruddy, and I thought, well, gee, that's all right. It's a key fob or something new. So then I got to hunting, looking on the internet, and it's like I'm not finding anything. So I got to looking, it's like I changed it to watch fob on there and started looking at the images, and lo and behold, it turned out to be a 1920 Harley Davidson watch fob.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that might be worth some money too.
Yeah, and the prices on what I saw on the internet when I did find them, they're quite expensive. So I'm really happy to have that.
Yeah, good find. We'll be right back after this with Ed Olson.
This segment is brought to you by Omega Mill Pouches, the official digging pouch of XP Team USA. If you're looking for a rugged, hunt-tested, washable pouch, look no further than Omega Mill. Get on eBay and search Omega Mill Pouches. That's OMEGAMILL.
And we're back with Ed Olson. So in addition to detecting, you're quite an accomplished wood carver. I've seen some of your stuff online. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I started that about 30 years ago. That was something I could do at home with my family, and my wife lets me do it in the living room. So we spend a little time together that way. They watch me carve. And I pretty much like to do character carving, little funny-faced people, Santa Clauses. I've done fishermen, and even civil war people I've carved, different things like that. It's something you can do in the middle of winter and gives you something to do.
Yeah, so what actually got you started in that hobby, and how did you, craft your skills? Did you start off good, or did you have to learn a specific way?
Oh, no, it was terrible. They have a park here, Starbuck State Park, and they had this wood carving club that had this event where they showed off all their stuff, and I went there, and I was kind of interested, thought it was neat, and they had like a booklet with a booklet showing how to carve, and a piece of wood, and a knife to start you out with. So then I started out with that. The first carving worked out all right, and then the next ones I tried to do were with pieces of 2x4, and that wood turned out to be way too hard, so I nearly gave up on that. And I found out that there's certain types of woods that they use for carving, so I started carving basswood, is what they do from Minnesota, and that's what I use now for carving mostly.
Gotcha. So I guess basswood is the best. So do you sell your work, or do you just add to your own collection?
I used to try it. I used to sell it for people that wanted, but it just got too consuming because people wanted it for a certain thing or a certain time. So I just enjoy just carving. So I pretty much just do it for friends and family.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so you're into metal detecting, wood carving. Any other interests that you have or hobbies?
I like to go fishing, like most people, I guess.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Mostly the main thing I like to do anymore is go metal detecting, though.
We understand that for sure. So what would you say has been your best find to date? And also, what's topping your metal detecting bucket list right now?
Probably my best find is a 1920s 18-karat gold wedding band that I found in a one-room schoolhouse.
Nice.
It's a real thin, fancy white gold ring. And what happened was I was hunting at this one-room schoolhouse, and I had found a 2-cent piece and decided that that I was going to start hunting, digging everything that was there. And I had put like the hot program on, and I was running in a circle from that area around. Got about 10 feet away from where I found that 2-cent piece, and I dug up the gold ring.
Nice. And then what's topping your bucket list? What do you really, really want to find?
I'd like to find a large cent. I haven't found a large cent yet. Mm-hmm. Well, I did 40 years ago. It was a great bust, but the only thing you could see was part of the bust. It was so badly worn.
Yeah, I'd like to find one myself. So I got to ask you, Ed, if you were given a one-day pass to metal detect anywhere in the U.S. that's always been off limits to metal detecting, where would you hunt?
I'm thinking like Gettysburg, something. I've never done any Civil War stuff or anything like that. I think that'd be cool to do.
Popular answer. Yeah. I'm sure there's many treasures on that hallowed ground.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming.
Well, Ed, we really want to thank you for joining us. Thanks primarily for being a listener to our podcast and active in our chat. It was great to finally speak with you. And I hope your fellow listeners enjoyed our conversation.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was great talking to you. All right, we'll see you.
Thanks, Ed.
All right.
Check us out online at xpdeus-usa.com.
If you are in the market for a new pinpointer, then check out XP's MI6 pinpointer. Waterproof up to 6 meters, 2 audio modes, picture poles, 3 levels of sensitivity, rechargeable lithium battery, 7 programs to choose from, 7th program being connectivity to your machine, allowing 50 levels of sensitivity and recovery mode for your MI6. For those on a budget, check out the MI4 pinpointer with all the same options except for connectivity. So find an MI6 or an MI4 pinpointer through a dealer near you.
We'd like to welcome Pete Sorell to the show. Pete is the newest member of XP Team USA field team, representing the great state of New York. Welcome to the show, Pete.
Hey, thanks, guys. It's great to be here.
Yeah, welcome to the show. And please, to get us started, just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what kind of work you do, family life, etc.
Okay, yeah. So I'm in upstate New York. I live about 40 miles south of the Canadian border. I grew up here. It's called the Champlain Valley. I live right in the Adirondack Park is actually where I live. I've got a wife, a couple of dogs, and I work for Volvo, actually building buses.
So you've been detecting for a number of years now. What got you started?
Actually, it's a funny story. When I was in college back in 2010, I was interested in a career as being a detective. So looking at a YouTube video one day, I went to type in detective. And by accident, it spell checked it somehow, and it turned it into detecting. So when I pressed enter, I got a number of videos of detecting, and I could say I wasted a day just watching videos.
Yeah, it's pretty serendipitous, I'd say.
Yep, and shortly after, I decided that I could do this, and I went out, saved up my pennies, and bought myself a Garrett Ace 250.
Nice. Yeah. And and being where you're from, I mean, your area offers some pretty rich and diverse history. Is there a type of detecting that you prefer? Is it the farm fields? Is it the home sites? Is it woods?
It really depends on the season, I think, with most people. Here I do prefer farm fields because they're very plentiful, and there was a lot of stuff that may not necessarily show up on a map, but you can locate, amazing stuff out there.
So how does being a town historian help your hobby of metal detecting?
It opens up a lot of doors, especially people coming in. I actually end up going to, this past weekend, I was at a history conference, which was a county-wide history conference. And the public's allowed to come, and, and I can tell them that I'm a historian, but I also do this on the side as a hobby. And it just really opens up a lot of doors. People are really interested. I work with the County Historical Association by providing them advice on different things that come into their collections. And then I also have people just come up to me out of the blue from that are associated with them and say, hey, I'd like to know what's on my property. And I'm always happy to oblige to enjoy my hobby, but also help them out and find some great things.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. And, you touched on it a little bit, but can you tell us a little bit more about what it means to be a town historian and what kind of projects you're currently working on with the county?
So 2026 is the 250th anniversary of this country being founded. So right now we're actually starting to gear up to basically get collections together for presentations and all kinds of things that the county is going to be putting on for the 250th anniversary. So like me personally, we have a Revolutionary War site here in our county where Burgoyne's army camped on its way to Saratoga. So, I'm able to, if I'm able to get out there and recover some artifacts to add to the collection of the county, that's an amazing thing to do, but it's also helpful for, to share that with the public so they understand that we had a part in this too.
So being a historian and all that, I'm sure you got connections for local history. So what all local history have you collected that you have not found by metal detecting?
I mean, I personally, I find things all over the place. I'm sort of a picker on the side too. My wife will say I wear many hats, and that's another one I do. And a lot of people will actually reach out to me. Being a historian helps with that because I have a love for history. People know that. I meet people in passing. I get references all the time. But yard sales and stuff like that, or like I said, just people contact me out of the blue and say, hey, I might have something you might be interested in. And a lot of this stuff doesn't go to my personal collection. I actually, if it's something that our county doesn't have, I'll donate it right to our museum.
That's fantastic because then everyone else gets to enjoy it as well.
Exactly. Yep. And that's my whole, I enjoy metal detecting, and that's a big part of, how I interpret history. I do a lot of outreach as well. And I think that's very important in this hobby because sometimes we get a bad rep for certain things, but it's great to do that outreach so people really understand, what a good detectorist is and how they present themselves and how they present the hobby to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So you get, do you have a collection of colonial stuff or Revolutionary War stuff? Or
I've got a large mix of everything, really. Most of the sites in my area were settled right around 1780, 1790, some just after the Revolutionary War. So we do have sites dating prior to that, but they're few and far between, because when the British came through, they actually drove a lot of people out. So after the fighting, people started coming back to the area. And so most of my stuff dates, the early stuff dates 1780, 1790, 1800. And then we have a ton of stuff after that. The population really boomed.
Gotcha. Well, that's good that you've got that wide range of history, because, you know, it gives you the opportunity to find so many different things.
It does. And you can go in one field here and find probably 2 centuries worth of things. And, you know, some of it could be on a map, like I said, and some of it just shows up out of the blue, you know, where you didn't even expect to find something.
Yeah. And it's funny, you know, I'm probably 4.5 hours south of you in New Jersey. And I've had experiences where I have found, you know, a wheat penny that's 8 inches down, and then, you know, 2 feet away from it, like a large cent or an Indian cent, like 2 inches down. It's just like, you know, the more recent one's deeper for some reason.
Yeah, you know, it is funny. I've been on sites like that too, where I've dug an Indian head penny, you know, probably 10 inches down, same thing. And then I find a half real right on the surface.
All right. So with all the different land out by you, what's your style and what's your strategy when it comes to getting permissions? I know a lot of our listeners are interested in that, because it's something we all have to deal with and struggle with.
Yeah. And yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think I think everybody gets nervous when they get a permission. I'm very confident, but at the same time, I get a little bit nervous right up until I knock on that door and someone answers. And so I just, what I do is I take a really professional approach to it. I have business cards. I wear a nice polo, a nice pair of jeans, and I come up and I basically tell them, you know, I noticed your house. It's a beautiful old home. Could you tell me a little bit about it? You know, and then I go into what my hobby is and how I work with these different organizations to preserve the history of the area. And, you know, basically it's a lot of people are very receptive. It's funny. People just think I'm going to get a no after no after no. But once they realize what you're doing and how you do it, like sometimes I'll even show people, if you're worried about what I'm going to do to your lawn, let me show you how I do it so you can see that I'm not going to destroy something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So as somebody who travels to different metropolitan areas for work, do you get an opportunity to metal detect in those places?
I try to, my goal is to detect with as many different people as possible. I just enjoy, when I first started, I was very much a very secretive kind of like, I'm going to keep this all to myself. But I soon found out that realistically, you have the best time when you're with someone else. And I enjoy finding history, but I enjoy just as much watching somebody else find history. So whenever I travel to a new area, I actually just, you know, I put the feelers out there and say, hey, I'm going to be in the area for the day. Would anybody like to go detecting? And you know, it's a lot of, the detectorists are great people, and in the sense that they're really welcoming. And I've had some great success and some great times with people just asking me to come out and join them. Even this past weekend, I live in Lake George, New York, which is about 2 hours south of me. Very historic area, French and Indian War, Revolutionary War, very, very historic area. But I had a gentleman just reach out to me, say, hey, would you like to come dig with me? And we did, and I had a great time. And you make new friends, and it's just great. You know, I do try to get out whenever I'm in a new area, and the detectors in those areas have been a great help too. So
yeah, and I think you bring up a great point. I've often said the people you meet, whether it's somebody who's given you permission to detect their land or a friend that you get to detect with, I mean, that's more valuable than the treasure you're actually finding.
I completely agree with that. Yeah. And, you know, you could find all the gold and the silver in the world, but those friendships are what last a lifetime. You know, the stuff that you find is just material. You can't take it with you, but those friendships, they last, a long time. So I agree.
So when you're out in different areas, does your strategy change? How does it compare with detecting your home turf?
Well, I mean, I kind of rely on the person that I'm going with. I'll do a little bit of research if I have the time, but for the most part, I rely on the expertise of the local person. But my strategy for detecting, my buddy likes to call me the Neanderthal, because when I find a new site, I'm not very much of a gritter. I basically just hit a site and then just meander. I'm not unless I get a really old site that I'm certain there was something there and the finds are concentrated, that's when I'll start to grid. But for the most part, I like to just get on the site and meander around.
Let's talk about some of your top finds that top off some of people's bucket lists. I know you found an 1852 $1 gold coin. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, we were at a home built in the 1790s, and we had just got permission. My friend from downstate had come up, and I'd gotten this great permission, and we were hunting the front lawn. Probably 5 minutes in, my buddy found a drape bust largie, and I was having some pretty good luck. I think I'd found some Canadian silver coins, and then I came across a squeaky signal on the dais, and it had that iron grunt on it, but I heard something beyond that made me think, well, if I don't dig this, I'll probably regret it. So I took the time, I dug the hole, and the first thing I pulled out was a big chunk of iron. And I said, I was like, that's the iron grunt, but I felt like there was something else in the hole. So I grabbed my pinpointer, went down in the hole, and as I was turning the pinpointer, the soil was very sandy. Just the edge of that little $1 gold coin popped out of the soil, and I dropped everything. And I called my buddy over. I said, you got to come over here and tell me what you think this is. I said, I'm not going to pick it up out of the hole. I just want you to see it first. Wow. And he came running over and he says, buddy, you got a gold coin. And I said, no way. I dropped everything. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, $1 gold coin. I put it it sits right on the tip of your finger. It's very tiny. It was holed, but that was an amazing experience.
How deep was it?
It was probably 4 or 5 inches is my guess, because I pulled the big chunk of iron out first and then it was underneath that. Well, probably on the side, but I couldn't really tell exact location because of the big iron piece.
Well, good for you for chasing it, because, I always say I'd rather know it's junk than not know if there was something good there.
Exactly. And here where we are, especially this weekend, we went to that a French and Indian war site, and the gentleman, he digs those sites all the time, and I am not used to it. It's very quiet, but if you get a blurb, whether it's good or bad, you dig it anyways, because especially some of those very deep objects on the dais, the ID is not always 100% spot on, so you have to dig those iffy signals to get those great things.
Yep, absolutely. And another great find of yours is a 1796 Liberty Cap bust. Did you know immediately what you had when you found that?
Actually, I did not. It was probably a year prior I had found my first Liberty Cap large set, which was a 1795. And then I was in an opposite field of that one, and I had a friend over from Vermont. And when I dug it, I knew it was a large cent at the time, and I could tell that it was a Liberty Cap, but I didn't know the significance of it at the time. It wasn't until I got home and had cleaned it up just a little bit that I realized that I had such a rare coin, and it was quite amazing shape for being in the ground for 220 years at that point.
Yeah, it's amazing. Sometimes they come out great, and sometimes, maybe I've got one and I just can't tell because it's so toasted.
Yep, and that happens too. I have a definitely jar full of toasted large cents.
Well, I know a lot of people are really big on buttons, and I can't really find very many buttons up here in Oklahoma that are worth very much, but I've heard you found quite a bit of 1812 buttons. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, sure. So again, like I said, you make new contacts through everything you do. And one day I stumbled upon this house that had been built in 1787 and was continuously owned by the same family for those 200 and some odd years. And I found out that the lady who owned it was the director of the County Historical Association. Uh-huh. So she then in turn, we started speaking. I became a member of the Historical Association. association. I helped them out. And she said, I have this cousin who owns this War of 1812 fort that was built but never used. And I said, oh, I would love to get on that property. So she contacted her cousin, and I was able to get on that property. And over the years, every time I get a new program on the dais, a new coil, a new, anything I can change up, I've always hit that field. And to this day, I think I've pulled over 60 or 70 War of 1812 buttons out of there, probably another 50 musket balls. You name it, I've dug it out of there. It's amazing, and it's still producing to this day.
Wow, that's a great property you got there. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's and like I said, it's not, sometimes it's about the people you meet, and they help you to to get in touch with people you never thought you would have the chance to get on the property, but these people help you out a lot. And like I said, this person has really helped me get onto some properties that are very historic, and otherwise I may not have ever had the chance to detect. So.
Mm-hmm. So now let's talk about the Adirondack Pound to the Ground event. It's a fantastic organized rally. I use the word rally because I go to England sometimes and they call them rallies. I think I'm like, over here I think we call them digs, but it's coming up this October. Can you tell us the history of this event and how it got started? Yeah,
so the Pound the Ground event was started by Nathan Matthews at Rhode Island Relics. He, for the last 2 years, has been putting on a seated hunt in Rhode Island, and I just happened to attend that hunt this year, and it was a very well-organized event. They had 300 and some odd participants this year for a seated hunt, which is quite amazing, on a very historic property. And so after that hunt, I think I had briefly met Nathan, but I didn't really know him. He contacted me out of the blue and said, hey, would you happen to know of anybody with a large amount of property that would be interested in hosting a metal detecting hunt? And I said, I have plenty of, large properties up here. I can certainly see. And basically that's how we got started together. And it's turning into something that we're hoping is an annual event at a historic location, different places around the country. So this year it just happens to be on the Adirondack coast here in New York. But hopefully in the future we're going to have it all over the United States. But we do want it to become as big as Detectival. There's some features of that hunt that we don't have this year, but we'd like to have in the future, like camping on site, which I think a lot of people enjoy in England, and I think a lot of people would enjoy here. So we're working on it. It's a work in progress. There's a lot of different things that go into something this large, but we're doing our best to put on a world-class event for everybody that's coming.
That's great. And I'll tell you, as somebody who's done both the camping in England and the bed and breakfasts, I'll vote for the bed and breakfasts. But really depends on the weather.
Yeah. And October up here, that time of year, could be a crapshoot. You might get snow or you might get sunshine.
So what's the land and history like for this year's event?
So this year's event is taking place in the little town of Shazy, New York. It was first settled in the 1780s and really started growing around 1800. During the War of 1812, the British and the American troops traveled through that corridor quite often. We've found multiple War of 1812 sites on the property, so it's quite amazing. I think there's definitely a lot of stuff there that we didn't even know, that I certainly didn't know existed, and I think people are going to find some great items, and they might find some hot spots again that I haven't even located. So I think it's going to be very good for natural finds out there. I don't think you can't, on these hunts, just like any natural hunt, you can't promise everybody's going to find something, but I believe that we're trying to put on a different type of event that's all about, not just about the finds, but about the experience. And I think this is something that's going to catch on. I think we're going to get bigger and better every year.
It sounds amazing, and I'm certainly excited to go. And you mentioned, and this is different than the typical Pound the Ground events, in that you are doing a natural hunt and also a seated hunt, right?
Yeah, correct. Yep. And we're offering, and we've listened to people who've been to past events, who've been to other hunts, and we've taken a lot of their suggestions into consideration and changed the way, initially we had it one way. You could only do this kind of hunt or this kind of hunt. But we've actually added different prices for tickets. If you only want to come for a 1-day natural hunt, a 2-day natural hunt, or if you want to do the whole thing. And we've actually got a veterans discount as well, which I'm not sure every hunt does, but I think that's a great thing to get our veterans out there doing this stuff. We thank them for everything that they do, but this is another great way to show them that we appreciate their sacrifices. And so I think stuff like that is really helping to grow it.
And there's a ton of people coming in, some a little bit more famous than others. Why do you think this event's got so popular so far?
I think it's that so when we first came up with this event, the original Pound the Ground event in Rhode Island was just sponsored by Mind Lab, and so most of the products that were given away were Mind Lab based products. And what we wanted to do was create a inclusive hunt more than exclusive, because we didn't, we know that listen, I hunt with people that use all kinds of different machines, and I've never made any, my machine's better than your machine baloney. I don't understand that. Just go out and have fun. And we wanted to make this event so everybody felt included. So we're doing our best to have as many diverse people and companies come in and present their wares, and really show everybody what it's like to be a part of the whole metal detecting community, the family that we are.
Yeah, and one of the companies will of course be XP. We will be there, a bunch of us from XP Team USA, as well as Gary Blackwell. He's coming over from England to attend this event, and usually it's the other way around. Americans are going to England, and now we got people from England coming to America, so that's pretty cool. And there's going to have demo fields. So what can the attendees expect from the demo fields?
So the demo fields, what we're going to do is for every company, including XP, we would like to set up an area where we're going to plant items in the fields, in these sectioned off areas. And then you're going to actually be able to try the newest, latest, and greatest machines from XP and any of the other metal detecting companies that are out there. So we really want people to get a feel for the machines, understand what they're telling them, and including having us there, members of XP Team USA, to help them, to show them, the ropes basically, and to get people excited about the different products and stuff that we carry. So every manufacturer, I believe, is going to have one, and that's a great experience to show, for us to show what these machines can do, and to get people excited about it. So I think that's going to be great. Like I said, we're going to have a whole bunch of different items buried in the ground so they can kind of see. And I know personally, I'm going to have some items included from my area so people can get an idea. If they find a pewter button from the War of 1812, they're going to know what it sounds like.
Oh, that's great.
Oh yeah, I wish I could make it to this one, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. But I think Gary Cook might be making it also.
I saw that. I'll be honest with you. When I found out that Gary was coming, I think that's a huge thing for XP, because Gary is the guy when you first buy your XP machine that you really watch and learn the machine through his skill school videos. And I couldn't be more excited to have him here and to have any other people that are have ever watched his videos to actually meet him in person and get to maybe get to learn a little bit from the things he's done. So
yeah, definitely. I had the opportunity to meet him once at a rally in England, and just listening to him teach somebody else, I was able to learn some stuff. So yeah, it's great. And Gary Cook, aka Cookie, he's an XP expert as well. If all works out the way it should, he's going to be flying to New Jersey and driving up with me. So I'm going to pick his brain a lot on the ride up.
And that's great. And actually, I've been to England too, and that was where I had my first taste of an XP Deus, and I was pleasantly surprised when I rolled over there, and everybody was using this brand new machine that was sweeping the country, and I got to use one for the first time when I was in England in 2012 is when I went. 2014 was the first time I I ever got to use one.
I had the same experience. It was, I think, 2013 or 14. I forget, but I was over there, and like half the guys were at daises, and I was just like, "What is that?" You know, I was just like, "Oh, that's that thing I saw in the magazine," but I didn't know what it was, and I picked it up, and somebody let me try it out. I was like, "Oh, this is the real deal." This thing. So
yeah.
I think 6 months later, I got it.
It was probably the same thing. I think I went in September of that year, and by Christmas time, I had my own.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you tell us anything else that anybody should know about this event?
Well, I just want everybody to know that we are doing our best to put on a world-class event here. We're going to have food trucks. We're going to have a beer vendor. We're going to have vendors that are selling metal detecting type materials. We've also invited clubs from all over the country to come and set up a table, tell us about who they are. They're welcome to sell their items. And this is all free of charge. We ask people to, these clubs to come out because with the amount of people that we have coming from around the country, some of these people may not even know that they have a club nearby. So we think this is a great networking type event as well. So like I said, even though there's going to be some great finds made, I guarantee it, the seated hunt is going to be spectacular. If you've never ever done one of those, they're a lot of fun. And there's some really amazing things that they're putting in the ground. But I think, this experience for a lot of people is going to be their first taste of something like this. And we hope to make it bigger and better every year. And we're always learning. We're still learning as we go here through this event. And, we're trying to put on something great. And I think people are going to be really excited to see what we've got put together.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it as well. So before we wrap up, just a couple more questions. You've told us about the gold coin and some other great things that you found. What's topping your bucket list these days? What's that one thing that's eluded you that you really want to find?
The one thing that's eluded me that I really want to find, and I think I got the sites to find it, would be a George Washington inaugural button. And I see a lot of them pop up around the Northeast here, and I'm definitely hunting sites where those should pop up, but they're few and far between. But when I do get on them, I always get that feeling, man, this could be the spot.
I think that is probably topping the number one list of everybody's bucket list right now is the GW button, at least on our podcast.
Yeah.
Anyways. So.
We just had a local guy, well, not local, but Kendall Edkins, he's over in Vermont, and he just nabbed his first one, and that one blew up on Facebook, and I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, I saw that.
I couldn't be more excited for that guy.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. All right. You get a knock on the door, you open the door, and there's some government official, and he passes you a little piece of paper, and it's a 1-day free pass to metal detect anywhere in the United States. That's always been off limits to metal detecting. Where would you go?
Mount Vernon. Home of the first president. I think that would be one of my top thoughts. To dig where George Washington stood and lived, I think would be an incredible opportunity.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
Yep, and just make sure you pick me up on the way. And
I'll bring as many friends as I can fit in my car. If we all get that pass, I say, is this for my friends too?
All right.
Well, Pete, thanks so much for joining us. We're really excited to have you on XP Team USA. We're excited for Pound to the Ground this October, and maybe we'll have you on again in advance of Pound to the Ground to talk a little bit more once we get closer to the event.
That would be awesome, guys. I had a great time, and I look forward to giving some great advice and shooting some great videos for XP Team USA and sharing my love for the dais and showing some new friends along the way how we do things.
All right. Yeah, it was great talking to you, and we do look forward to seeing some of your videos. And everybody check out the YouTube videos on XP Team USA and check out Peter Sorell.
Thanks, Pete.
All right. Have a great night, guys.
All right.
You too.
We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
If you have a question for one of our guests or just like to make a comment, call us at our XP Team USA podcast hotline at 405-294-3602. XP XP has introduced its new ORX machine, a high-end machine at a mid-range price. The ORX has 4 factory preset programs, 2 gold, 2 coins, also 2 user programs. The ORX comes with a high-frequency coil and is compatible with the X35 coils. The ORX is now available in the USA. All right, we are back. That was great hearing from Pete Sorell. He's got a lot of stuff going on up there.
Yeah, he does. And, I was excited for the Pound of the Ground rally, already. And after talking to him, I'm even more excited. It's going to be a really great event.
Oh, yeah, it will be. And, yeah, I wish I could make it. I got a lot of stuff going on. And
yeah, it's a bit of a ride for you.
Yeah, it's quite a distance from me.
We'll take pictures and videos, and we'll bring it as close to you as we can.
Yeah, all right. And make sure you check out Beyond Sight and Sound with Josh Kimmel every Sunday and Wednesday night live at 8 p.m.
Yeah, Josh always has a great show, great chat going on. He's always being nice and promoting us, so hoping to return the favor. Yeah, definitely check out Beyond Sight and Sound.
Yeah, and also check out our XP Team USA Facebook page and, of course, our XP Team USA YouTube. Again, big thanks to Harry from iDetect for hosting an XP Pinpointer giveaway and promoting our channel. Please be sure to go and check out iDetect on YouTube and also go to our XP Team USA YouTube and give it a like and subscribe.
Yeah, and then that's all we got for tonight. Please join us for our next show, which will be in 2 weeks on July 12th. Have a wonderful 4th of July celebration, and we'll see you next time.
All right, well, we'll see you.
Get that permission, put the coil to the soil, and we'll see you next time right here on the XP Team USA podcast.